What would Duncan do? He'd probably start his day with something humble, hearty, and full of soul, just like today's guest. We're about to turn simple beans and cornbread into a firehouse feast. Welcome to Firehouse Kitchen, Duncan Hines Days edition, and today's dish is as old school as it gets. White beans, broadbent bacon, and cornbread straight from the cast iron. All right, so we've got Josh Poling of Hickory and Oak, which is probably what you're most known for, but you're also doing Broadbent hams now.
Yeah.
You've got another business venture going on,
Yeah.
and I think that's what you're going to present here, right? Josh, without any further ado, I'll let you take it away.
I'm definitely best known for Hickory and Oak and its predecessor, Home Cafe. Last spring, I had an exciting opportunity to kind of take over this legacy brand in Kentucky called Broadbent Country Hams, and we've been open since 1909 making country ham. And if you think about it, I'm going to talk a little bit about the white beans we're making today, and there's no tricks or gimmicks. It's just really high quality ingredients done really well. I wanted to make something that I thought at the firehouse they could execute very quickly, and the beauty of white beans is they're good forever. And so, you know, if they're making them and they get a call, they can turn off that stove. And if you think about the work they do, in a lot of ways it mimics the lifestyle when this dish was created, because, you know, on the farm you didn't necessarily know when you were going to get your break, or when you had your daily chores you didn't know when that break was coming, but there was a pot of beans ready to go.
Might be a trade secret. Would you mind explaining sort of the origins of the dish?
Yeah, absolutely. You asked me that, and I joked with you that, man, it's white beans and country ham, and I'm from Appalachia originally, and asking an Appalachian about white beans and country ham and where it's from would be like me asking you where fajitas were invented. Man, this dish was invented in my abuela's kitchen. Like, that's what it was. And it's cool because I'm sure, just like for you with certain dishes, when I eat this, I'm immediately taken back to my great-grandmother, Mildred Reed. And I can't even remember eating white beans there necessarily, but I remember the way she cooked. And when you eat these very humble dishes, I think you're taken back to a time where you're just really comforted. And, you know, when you're at your great-grandparents' house, grandparents, there's no rules. Great-grandparents, it's just free for all. Do whatever you want.
Right.
So we're going to get started on the white beans right now, and I'm going to have you get started on cornbread while we're working, if that's cool with you. So for the cornbread, this is a really cool recipe. I belong to this Appalachian food groups on Facebook. And so admittedly, we didn't make it this way growing up, but I read about people that did. And so it's really simple, and that's why I love this recipe. It is equal parts self-rising cornmeal and equal parts buttermilk. That's the whole recipe. There's not really measurements or anything beyond that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this stick of butter, you're gonna rub this cast iron pan down really, really well with it, and then you're just gonna mix that up, pour it right in, and we're gonna bake it. You don't have to get a super hot pan like you usually do with cornbread or anything. So it's gonna be a really nice complement to our white beans. So if you wanna go ahead and start rubbing that with butter.
Awesome.
Admittedly, in my family, most of the time growing up, this would have been like bacon fat or some kind of pork fat. But our beans are going to be loaded with pork flavor. So in this instance, I want the cornbread to kind of have more butter flavor than anything else.
Okay.
So while you got that going, I'm just going to get some bacon fat going in this pan back here. We're going to start by cooking our protein and that mirepoix off.
Then you want me to use this whole stick of butter in here?
As much as we can.
Okay.
So you and I were talking before this started, but this is some of the rendered bacon fat from this Broadbent bacon here.
Okay.
And what makes stuff like this so special, and nobody does it anymore, but you know, we're all focused on grocery prices right now. They're through the roof. I mean, they're so expensive. And when you buy really good bacon, if you dump that fat into the trash can, you're really wasting a great commodity.
Absolutely.
So say you cook off a pound of bacon and you've got, I don't know, 6 to 8 ounces of bacon fat, you can use that just like butter. I mean, you can put it in biscuits, you can do this pan with it. And if you do that, you think about saving 8 ounces on butter. I mean, that's $4 to $5 right there that you just saved, and that reduces the price of the bacon. So I know our grandparents did it, and a lot of kitchens do it out of necessity to save money. But I think more and more you're gonna see American home cooks doing that. That looks really great.
Right. And one thing you've mentioned to me before is you like using high quality ingredients.
Yep.
Because then the technique doesn't matter as much. You know,
Exactly.
you can mess things up a little bit.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of been my workaround my whole career. Just like I'm not a very fast line cook. That's one of my dirty secrets, but I am an incredibly organized line cook, and so I can work off muscle memory. Same with being a chef. You know, if you don't really have what it takes, just buy really good products and make simple food, and that's what I do. The bacon that we're using in this is the bacon ends and pieces from Broadbent. So when we slice bacon there, we only use the like prime center cut for all of our bacon, but we save all those ends and pieces. It works really well for beans or anything like that because there's a lot of extra fat in it, and that fat's gonna be all the flavor in this.
So Duncan Hines believed in simplicity done well, and I think this recipe does exactly that. Not too many ingredients. It's stuff that you don't have to have any real technique for. You just kind of combine it all, and you get to enjoy.
Yeah, we talked a lot about ingredients today, but it's just another one of those things. The butter that we're using is called Vermont butter, and it's from a creamery in Vermont, but it's 82% butter fat. And so once again, it's more expensive, but it's super, super rich. It requires less of it. And it's just a phenomenal product. It's the difference of having mass produced versus a local dairy kind of making it the way it should be.
Right,
made.
I saw there was a cultured butter that uses sea salt, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I'm big on salted butter. We always buy unsalted, but then we just add salt to whatever. Believe me, if you're eating bread and butter, in this case cornbread and butter, you want the salt in that butter.
And this, do you want me to mix it well, just kind of fold it?
Yeah, no, you can just go to town.
Churn it?
Yeah,
right.
I'm not just saying this, like it's just a foolproof recipe. There's, just like I would have my daughter mixing this right now. There's not a lot of technique behind this.
So am I smarter than a 4-year-old is the question here.
So once you get that mixed up, it can go in the pan. I've got this oven turned to 450, so it is gonna bake really hot. But you're gonna see, we're gonna flip it out. It's gonna have a nice little crust to it. And then we're gonna hit it with a little bit more butter.
I already smell that ham.
Yep.
It smells great. What was your favorite restaurant growing up?
Oh, favorite restaurant growing up. You know, Bowling Green's always had a really great restaurant scene, I feel like. I don't feel like Hickory and Oak is like the best we've ever had. I think it's just a new generation of restaurants. But man, my favorite growing up was Judy's Castle on the Bypass. Like, I absolutely loved it. And honestly, it kind of mimics the Broadbent story where I was lucky when Broadbent came available, I was in a position to make that move. I always said if Judy's Castle went for sale, it was mine. I wanted it, I wanted that torch. And man, they announced like 2 weeks after we opened Hickory and Oak, they announced they were closing. And I mean, it broke my heart. I knew there was no way I could get it. And then they bulldozed it and it went to the ground. But Judy's Castle was just, I know this sounds weird because we don't serve the same food at all, but I really think it was this precursor to Hickory and Oak where it was that community hub in Bowling Green where everybody came, you know, everybody had breakfast for like $1.25 or something.
I remember in high school, the teams would go there for morning breakfast, you know, before meets or before games. It was a way for them to carbo load, you know, and it's a very down at-home environment, so it's very welcoming.
Yeah, it was. The pies were incredible, and so we're gonna go ahead and put this in. You don't have to use it all, and like I said, there's no direct recipe. It's just 1-to-1. That's all we're doing. So it's gonna get in there. You can see we're gonna leave a little bit. If you're at home, just throw that in another pan. There's no reason not to.
You actually see it activating already, right?
Yep, absolutely.
The air bubbles there.
And so like I said, this is a 450 oven. We're just gonna go in. In culinary school, I would always ask my chef how long stuff needed to bake, and he would always say until it's done. So I'm not a big timer person. I actually don't like recipes in general, but we're gonna bake that till it's done. That's what I'm telling you right now. So this ham and this bacon, you can see it's really well rendered out. We've got really great color on it. All that fat's released. And you can see I left it really rustic, but you know, back in 1950, you get a bowl of beans with that, like that's your protein for the day. Yeah. So I like leaving it like that.
Absolutely, it smells phenomenal.
Yep. So we're gonna go in with our veg now. I just did some celery and onion. You can do carrots, you can do bell peppers. This is just kind of gonna give you a little bit of another layer of flavor in there. You wanna stir it and get that bacon fat to coat all these vegetables. Just get them cooking down here.
Get all those flavors incorporated.
Yeah. Oh, I love that smell. Yeah. Bacon fat with onion is like one of my favorite things in the world.
I used to hate onions as a kid. It would literally make me want to like vomit. Yeah. And now it's just where like I need to put onions in everything.
Yep.
Now, are we looking for a full saute or just a quick sort of?
No, it's more of like you're just kind of steaming them. You just want to start getting them softened. I mean, ideally this is going to cook for an hour because they're just ready to go. Like you don't need to make restaurant dishes at your house all the time. And you know, I know it's really fun to follow influencers and social media, but like you also just have to eat as a family. And so sometimes you just throw in a frozen pizza.
Absolutely.
And that has to be okay.
We're in Firehouse Kitchen. We need something that they can just drop and go if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they may not know if they want to soak beans overnight, come back, strain them off, cook them off nicely. You know, sometimes it's just nice to have this in the cabinet.
All right, so let's let this pot finish cooking, the cornbread finish baking, and get the guys ready to dig in. So we've finished cooking everything. We've plated it up. We've got the fire crew here, and we've got Josh. Moment of truth is upon us.
Yeah, guys, we've got some really great country ham, white beans. There's also some big chunks of bacon in there. You're really gonna taste some smokiness and richness also. And I got a nice bowl of cornbread. I always like to crumble the cornbread up in mine so it's in bites, so you can do that or just eat it on the side. And then a little bit of hot sauce here. This is a very rich, hearty bowl. The acidity of hot sauce is really nice to cut through everything, but it's kind of personal preference. I don't think you can ever add hot sauce to other people's food because that's like a do your own thing. So it's there if you guys want it, but dig in, enjoy, and thank you guys so much for everything you do for Bowling Green. That's the last thing I want to say, but we appreciate you all so much.
The cornbread in it.
Delicious.
Good?
Smells
Taste the
great.
smokiness.
Yeah, should taste like a big bowl of love.
Oh my gosh. I've eaten this all my life and this tastes completely different than anything I've ever eaten.
He's speechless there for a few seconds.
This is incredible. It is, it's really, really good.
Good, I'm glad you enjoy it.
I've never had it where, I've never had beans where there was celery in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another,
Yeah,
just another taste is all it is, but it's really good.
yeah, it just adds another level of flavor.
And you get different textures, you know.
Yep.
You got the protein with the ham in there. That's one texture. The beans, I'm sure, are very soft and velvety, and then you get a little bit of bite there with the caramelized onions that I saw you finish up at the end. The celery, and then the crumble from the cornbread. Obviously, it's
Even better with the cornbread in it.
Yeah.
Very good.
okay. So, how do you guys feel about bringing this recipe into the Fire Kitchen? Because these are all high-end ingredients, but they're easily accessible. I mean, Josh is doing the Broadbent hams. He's got that in stock, I'm sure. And all the salted butter. Like these are all things you can find at Kroger even if you wanted to scale it down and not use the high-end ingredients.
Sure, no, I think this would go over really well. I think everybody would enjoy this. It'd be pretty easy to do.
Right?
Yeah. Any meal that you can cook at the station where you don't have to babysit it.
Yep.
You know, that's always a big thing for guys is you need stuff that you can cook that you don't have to stand over it and basically babysit it. This is something, once you get it all mixed up and going, you can watch a game on television, you could walk off from it. Worst case scenario, when you get an alarm, you have to just shut everything off and then come back, this is exactly this is what the guys look for.
Well, the best part of beans, chili, gumbo, burgoo, it's always better the next day. You know, let all the flavors meld. It's one of the few foods that's better left over.
Evaporate
than it
some
is
of that
fresh.
liquid out and let it get
exactly.
even richer and thicker.
Oh yeah, it's always better.
All right, so I want to recap and thank the fire department for having us here again. You guys do so much for us on a daily basis. We feel really privileged to be here and be able to feed you guys and pay you back in some small way, especially the way it ties into Duncan Hines Days, June 1st through the 8th. I want you guys to come out with us and enjoy those festivities. I want to thank Josh again for everything he's done today. He really knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. I think this is definitely a recipe that even I'm going to take home. One dish, one story, one mission. Feed your people, feed your soul. That's what Duncan would do. Join us June 1st through 8th for Duncan Hines Days. Support the local legends. Come hungry, leave inspired, and remember, there's power in a simple plate done right.